with remarkablycreated.com. Sorry I've been away for a while. I've been working on a new business as well as taking some time with family and traveling, but I'm excited to be stamping again and sharing tutorials with you. So today what we're going to look at is a really fun layout. I really don't know if there's a name for this technique or layout, so I'm just calling it stamping bands because you're making a band of stamp images. If you know of a name for it or you have a better descriptive name, I would love some help with it. I have a customer, Adam Karle, who I had do some design work for me using the Tropical Sheet Suite. And one of the cards that came with that bunch of samples that he sent me was this card right here. And I was totally enamored by it. I'm not sure how he created it, but I'm going to show you some samples and then I'm going to show you how I figured out how to do it. So let's take a look at the samples. So first we have here this beautiful Tropical Chic, and it is one of our suites in the 2018 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. We have this one here, which is made with the Blended Seasons. It's an exclusive limited edition bundle that is available this month in August while supplies last. We have this one that was also made with the same bundle, but a little bit of a variation in that we have added some paper to the bottom of that card. Here is another one also made with the Blended Seasons, so you can already start to see just how versatile that bundle is. Isn't that pretty amazing? And in this case, let me hold this one up. We have this really fun new framelit now that just does these little dotted lines. Isn't that cool? So a lot of fun there. So we've got Merry Christmas. Then this one is using a stamp set called Wonderful Moments. And I love this one. It looks like she's kind of going, oh, snap. You know I'm fabulous, darling. And so a fun one here. And as part of this video, I'm going to show you how to easily line up those elements. And then another one from that same stamp set. Again, lining up those elements. And then this time we used the amazing Delicate Lace Edgelits. And you'll see those in use. Watercolored her. And then this is the card that we're going to make together in this video as I show you how to put all of this together. And these leaves, again, are also an element from that bundle. So let me show you the bundle and what we're working with. This is the Blended Seasons bundle. And again, it is for all seasons. You've got your fall, your flowers for spring, your fall, your Christmas, your wheat. You've got some great greetings, Merry Christmas, I miss you, congrats, thank you. You've got bells that can be Christmas or wedding. So lots of possibilities with that. And it is one of our red rubber clear mount stamps. And it does have a set of framelits that are part of that. You have these amazing frames here. And last night in my Facebook Live video, I showcased some fun things to do with this. And I'll be doing a video here as well. Ooh, little extra leaf bonus, fun stuff. And then you've got a bow, some little swirls. You've got the leaf that I used. You've got some flowers and then a shape for the bell. So those are all part of that set. So what we're going to be working with are the leaves. So let me grab the leaves out of here. And the colors that we're going to be working with, Merry Merlot, Mango Medley, and Shaded Spruce. These colors are all part of the new colors when Stampin' Up! Did their color relaunch, and they kind of updated their colors, their refresh and revamped them. Also our new style ink pads. I also picked these because I wanted to point out that Shaded Spruce and Merry Merlot are colors that are used in quite a few of the designer papers and kits in our holiday catalog that is debuting on September 1st. And if you do not have a demonstrator that you work with, I would love to get a copy of our catalogs into your hands. So of course you need a block for stamping. So let's set those up there. And then one other thing, because I'm going to be using the same stamp set over and over again that I have that I'll be working with, is our new Simply Chamois. And if your Simply Chamois looks like this, 3 points for you, 10 points for you. It means you're using your chamois. It will get stained, but as long as you rinse it out, those stains and those inks will not pick up on your stamps for the next image. A couple of tips on our chamois. It's nice and thick. You want to make sure that it's wet the whole way through. And then I like to squeeze out the extra water because you don't need puddles of water. You need this nice and damp, but you don't need it dripping wet. These chamois do fit in our clear mount stamp cases, and that protects your work surface while you're working. What you don't want to do, though, is you don't want to seal this up shut while this is wet. What'll happen is it'll get that musty, mildewy smell. It might even develop mold or something like that. So when I'm done stamping for the day, I take it to the sink. I rinse it out really, really good. And then I just kind of lay it back in here, and I actually kind of lift it up over the edge a little bit so some air can get in underneath. And then I just let it dry, and it will dry hard. It kind of curls up a little bit. That's okay. It's not broken. Just put a little water on it, and it's good to go. So if you see me reaching off screen with my stamps, that's what I'm doing, is tapping it on here. So then the supplies to make our card. We have a half sheet of our shaded spruce cardstock. This is 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to go ahead and fold it in half. You could actually add a score with a scoring tool if you wanted to, but I'm going to fold it in half. And a tip team Nancy Martin taught me years and years ago is if you don't want your paper to shift, like these corners to shift while you're folding, is to start in the middle and go out to each end. And I've always used that tip, and it really does work like a charm. So we have that. Then we have 2/4 sheets that are cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, and they are in our very vanilla. One will be for the front of the card, one will be for the inside of our card. Then I went ahead and I cut 2 circles using the stitched framelits. I love those stitched framelits. And then ahead of time, I've cut 3 leaves, one with Mango Melody, and then 2 with Shaded Spruce. Another element that I die cut ahead of time is this little piece of Designer Series paper, and I cut it with those delicate lace edgelets, and I'll show you those further down in the video, what those edgelets actually look like. So the other thing that you are going to need for this project, and let me grab it right here. I thought I had it laying right in front of me, but I don't, is you're going to need some type of tape that is a release type tape. So your washi tape, your painter's tape, anything that comes up quick and easy from your project. And this one's a little stickier than what I've been working with, so hopefully I don't make a fool out of myself and wreck this. So what I'm going to do, let me push this back a little further and create just a little bit of space. Let's move this. And then the last thing that you're going to need is grid paper. I love Stampin' Up's 11 by 17 grid paper. I can't imagine crafting without it. It has all of the grid marks in English, inches and feet and all that on the front, and then it's got your metric measurements on the back. I love that it keeps my work surface clean. I love that I can keep my hands clean on some type of projects. I love that I can line up things with it. It's just amazing to work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of those 4-inch by 5 1/4 pieces of cardstock, and I'm going to start up high because I want to be able to fold this up, if that makes sense, okay? And what you want to do is you want to just pick a corner. So you want to make sure that that helps keep it straight. So you want to make sure you've got it in a corner. And now the last thing that you need to decide is how wide you want your stamping area to be. 1 inch, 2 inches, 1.5 inches. That's a personal preference. It may also be dictated by the size of the images that you're using within that band, if that makes sense. I usually, just personally, like to put the top piece on first. And again, those grid lines are going to be able to help me keep it all straight. So it's perfect, 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 perfect. And this is a little bit bigger stamp, so I am going to give myself a little bit more space on it, on these leaves. Okay. There we go. Oops, of course, now I picked everything up. Oh my goodness. You guys laughing out there? Or are you guys thinking, I can relate to that, Murphy's Law, right? Hopefully you can relate to it and you're not laughing too much. Okay, so put that down and that down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold this up. And the reason why I'm doing that is the stamp that I'm working with is may actually be larger depending on where I'm putting it, and I don't want any ink down on this part of the card at all. So I'm just going to fold this up. So that's another reason why I love that 11 by 17 paper. Now one of the things that you want, we're going to start light. I always start lightest to darkest. One of the things that you want to be aware of is the fact that the painter's tape has a slight ridge to it. So that means you're going to want to press really hard so that you don't get any breaks in your images because of that ridge. So let's go ahead and start first with our mango. It's one of my absolute favorite colors. And normally you don't rock your stamps, but in this case I rock it just a little bit to get that ink in up along that edge, if that makes sense. So normally we would say don't rock your stamps, but in this case rocking is not a bad thing. So just a tiny little bit just to get those images in there. So let's close that up before I stamp on the wrong thing, because you guys have never ever done that, right? Stamped on the wrong thing. So let's go ahead and let's just clean that off. And a couple of things that you can do if you want to, test it to see if it's clean is just stamp it on that 11 by 17 paper. So that's a good way. Plus it dries it off just a little bit. So again, more uses for that 11 by 17 paper. And guys, it comes in a pack of 100 sheets. It will last you a very long time. So now I'm just going to go ahead with the shaded spruce. And again, that little bit of a rock. We're just going to add that color in there. And again, there's no right or wrong way. This is going to be all about aesthetics. What looks good to you? It's like some people like really, really wide borders, and some of us like narrow borders. So it's a very personal choice. So now let's add the next one. And this is our Mary Merlot. I don't know if I like it just because it's a pretty color or because it's named after a wine. So there, we've got all of our 3 colors ready to go. Now, one thing I do want to caution you about is when I was first playing with this technique, I kept getting ink all over my fingers, and I was getting so frustrated because I was smudging everything. I'd get the card just about done and there'd be a smudge, and I couldn't quite figure out what was happening or where the ink was coming from. And what I found was that the ink doesn't dry on the painter's tape. And so you want to be really careful as you're pulling that painter's tape up that you've left yourself kind of a little bit of a tab so that you don't get your fingers all yucked up, if that makes sense. So let me grab a little edge here, pull it up. Yeah, and this paper tape was a little bit stronger. You probably saw peel off just a little bit of my cardstock. So you definitely want to, I need to find my good purple stuff that I worked with. Had it last night for a video. But anyway, there you go. You've got those nice clean lines and you've got that beautiful border. So now let's go ahead and let's finish this card up together. So let's grab our adhesive. And I'm going to turn this sideways so I can work with the edges just a little bit better. Okay, so we've got that edge. We have our spruce ribbon. And this time, instead of a knot or a bow, like I did on the other card, just need how long it needs to be, is I'm going to go ahead and just tape it to the back. And I like to use our tear and tape for doing that. So let's make sure I've got it where I want it to be. There we go. Take this one, fold it back. And now we can go ahead and adhere it to our card front. And let's take our other elements. I have that stitch circle, and I have our 3 leaves right here. And we're just going to put some adhesive. We're going to put the leaves down. And in this case, I'm going to flip this one over. And then I'm going to set that aside for 1 second, and I'm going to take this. And instead of using Greetings from Color Blended Seasons, I'm going to work with the Itty Bitty Greetings. This is another new set in our catalog. And specifically, I'm going to pull the With Gratitude image. So let's pull that out. Let's get, and let's use Mary Merlot. It's right here on top. Actually, it doesn't matter if it's upside down, right? If I'm stamping it right now, because it's a circle, I can just turn it around. It's just one of those crazy thoughts. Okay, so now let's grab some dimensionals. 1, 2, I'm going to put 4 on. I usually think of a circle, even though it's a circle, as a square and 4 points. And layer that over top. Lots of adhesive to hold this on this front. And then there you have it. So nice fun border, something fun to work with using the Blended Seasons. And don't forget, that's available only during August. But now let's take a look at another card. Let's make another one, and let's play with the same colors just so that you can see how amazingly wonderful and yummy these colors are. And I want to introduce to you another one of my favorite stamp sets. This is called Healing Hugs. It's one of Stampin' Up's distinctive stamps. It is a patent pending line with these realistic looking images, and I just love this. Get well is definitely one of those reasons why you would send a card, people that are sick and recovering. So I love this, especially the sending you healing vibes. That just makes me smile. Plus this image is gorgeous. So we're going to play with that. And then again, I told you that I would showcase for you these Edgelits. And these are the 3 Edgelits. They are not part of a bundle or anything, but they are just beautiful. And you're going to see them cut out in just a second. A little tip with these really, really fine Edgelits. If you notice that you're having a hard time getting all of the pieces out of this, one of the first things that you want to check is you want to look over on the back side and you want to see if it's clean. Here, I don't know if you can see it or not. You can see those little pieces of paper. You want to make sure those are gone. If you get too much paper stacked up in those little places, it's not going to be able to cut. It's not going to have that depth to cut down into your paper. So you want to make sure that your Edgelits are clean when you're cutting with them. So let's keep that stamp set handy. And let's bring in some of the elements that we're going to be working with. Look at that. I mean, come on, those flowers are just gorgeous, guys. Oh my goodness gracious, how can you not love that flower? We have our Artisan Pearls, because I told you I'd show you how we lined up those pearls. I'm actually working with Shimmer White for this project. And I'll just give you some of these, just so you can see them again cut out. Look how pretty. And I know these are in, you know, shaded spruce and mango, but oh my gosh, you need to see them with dazzling details. You need to see them with fancy designer papers. You need to see them with our foils. They are just amazing to work with. They're just beautiful. And I know with the holiday stuff that just arrived at my house, I'm going to have a lot of fun with these Edgelits with a lot of the holiday products as well, too. So we're going to do this one as if it was not layered. So we're going to go ahead and lay this up here. I don't need that tape. I need this tape. And so much for that. So we'll take this piece. Okay. And that on there. Keep my lines. Okay. And this is a bigger stamp. This rose is kind of a good size. And I really do want to capture a bunch of the image of the rose in this set. I can't see. I got to stand up, guys. Sorry about that. Looking down, trying to see what I'm doing here. Definitely not a technique that you want to do if you can't see over the tape. So let's just reset this one here for a second and make sure I had it lined up right. Lined up nice and good. Okay, so we have that happening. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our mango. And I already have the stamp on a block. And again, remember you want to put some pressure on because of those lines. I'm going to press and hold it and kind of rock it a little bit. And then I'm not going to re-ink it. I'm just going to stamp it out. And I got a little bit of a boo-boo there, but I have an image that's going there, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so we have that happening. Now we can go ahead and, oh, before we're done, I want to put some leaves on it. Just put a few little leaves. I love these leaves. They're done to be light and dark, which is really cool. So it's got that built-in shading. You've got your dark and your light. So I just think that that's pretty stunning. I love flowers anyway, so this set just really talks to me because of that. And you know what? Let's keep the green out because we're going to use that for our greeting. And I picked up the dimensionals from the paper. That makes me smile. That's one way, I guess, to pick up the dimensionals. And normally you wouldn't get ink on your paper, but just ignore that. Sorry about that, guys. You didn't want to see that mess happening. And real quick, let's cut these out. I love that this is fairly easy to cut out. You can cut it out. It's not, the intricacy is the way that the ink works. It's not in all the fine little edges. So you can go ahead and you can give it a good cut in just a few seconds. We just want to pop one up. We want that little extra on your project. Okay, so we've got one. See, I knew that that was going to cover that. That's where I wanted it to go. And we're only going to do one leaf. And you know, when cutting, it's just like anything else. You know, whether you leave a wide border and then you sponge, whether you leave a wide border so that you have some kind of definition or offset. Again, there's so many personal preferences, and I know a lot of times people are like, well, just tell me what to do or just tell me how to make it kind of thing. And that's just not always, you know, something that works just because of what's happening or whatever. So we have that happening. And then we would just go ahead, and I actually did it backwards. Oh, well. We would take our greeting, and our greeting would go right along here. So just pretend like that, and you'll look at it, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So let's just move that around because I wanted the greeting to go here. So that's that. Let me just take ones that are almost already finished and show you what I'm talking about with the beads and things like that. So we have this one here up a little higher, and let's go ahead and let's add the beads to this in a way that I said would work really well for you. So I have our beads, and in this case I'm going to be our pearls. They're not beads. Our artisan pearls are Share What You Love. It's one of our top sellers. These soft colors are beautiful, and they take on a lot of the color of ones that are around them. So I'm going to cut them apart because I want this row right here. And then you want your pickup tool. We actually have a new pickup tool coming. This is actually our paper piercing tool, so I can't wait to try this technique with the new pickup tool. And again, if you want help with your lines, you could add just a little bit of tape if you're just a little worried about your line. So if you're worried about trying to stay straight. And then what I did was I actually used this to guide me. I went ahead and took the first one off and I put it down, and then the second one stays there, and then I just go ahead and I just pull them off and add them using this as my guide, if that makes sense. So I can kind of move that end one along. Hold on a minute. There we go, like that. That's what you want to do, Janet. And then you'll be able to flip it around and get them on. But that's how you're going to be able to add. You can even just lift them up like this too. And you're just going to be able to space it the whole way along. And instead of making you painfully sit through that, let me pull the ones back in that were done. So here you can see how that worked, especially with this long line here. That's exactly what we did. We just used a row of these as our guide. I had the tape just to keep it in place, just to help me. And I want to go ahead and finish this because I want to add the greeting to this, guys. So this has a little bit of sticky on the back. What I should have done is taken my embossing powder to the back of it so that it's not sticking to everything under the sun as I work here. And you're thinking, that's just way too many pearls. But you know what? Some people are worth this many pearls. You know, special occasion. Somebody that's a good friend of yours. Some people deserve lots and lots of bling and pretty things on their cards. So I've got a couple of friends that I know that would just love to have this much bling on their cards. That would just make them so, so happy. So let's pull this up. And now let's add our greeting that I had pulled up. We're short one. Didn't go the whole way across. You guys should have said something. Too bad you can't hear people out in TV land, right? So there we go. And let's pull this one off the block. Take our greeting. And there you go. Wishing you a quick and complete recovery. Look how pretty that is. Somebody that's been struggling has a beautiful card to work with. And again, this is the short orientation. I'll be honest, I do the short orientation because if you're going to do the pearls the long way, that really is a lot of pearls. So short orientation, I'm doing pearls. But just to show you how pretty this can look, and then just to have some fun with you here for just a minute. So then look at that element. Isn't that beautiful? We can also do this element. Oh my gosh, that's just gorgeous. Then we could do this element. You can also layer them. Don't be afraid to, you know, layer them and get a different look with them. Okay. And then we have our happy scallops. And again, you know, playing with some of the different layers. I'm trying to think which one. I think I liked, nope, I liked the green. So that's the finished one. So what you're going to want to do is you want to come visit me at remarkablycreated.com. I will have pictures of the projects. I will have pictures of how I finished this one up for you. And of course, the two that you saw earlier in that. So again, remarkablycreated.com. Use the links here at the end of this video. You can also use those links to come find me on Facebook, to shop with me, and also to request a catalog, guys. Thanks for watching.